Hey everybody, welcome back to Cheap Comic Collector. This is episode number 178. And several episodes ago I panned over this picture on the wall and Friar Tuck Patrick asked what it was. And I thought I'd say it again here in case it's not everybody saw it in the comments. This is actually a publicity photo for the Mickey Mouse Club. This is the actors David Stollery and Tim Considine in the photo as they appeared in the Spin and Marty serials on the Mickey Mouse Club back in the 1950s. And I had the pleasure of meeting them at a Disneyana convention several years ago, and they signed this picture for me. And actually, I got a lot of autographs. There was a bunch of Mouseketeers there. From the original 50s series. I got all their autographs, and I got, what's his name? Tommy Kirk's autograph, who, of course, starred in Old Yeller and a bunch of other Disney movies. And then, Tim Considine actually also appeared in the My Three Sons TV series as the oldest brother. Before... And then he left after just one or two seasons, I think. And also, I can't think of his name at the moment, but the guy who played Robbie on My Three Sons, he was also a Mouseketeer on the original 50s show, but he wasn't one of the original group. He was in a later group. He was kind of known as in what was known as the B team, but you can't see him in several episodes. And he was there too, so I got his autograph as well. So it was a fun time. It was a good convention. And maybe I'll start featuring some of my Disneyana collection on here once in a while, or maybe just do whole Disneyana episodes. I do have an awful lot of Disney stuff, having, I mean, I basically moved to Florida because I was a Disney fan to be able to go to Disney World anytime I wanted to. So, and while that's no longer the case, it was fun while it lasted. And I know something I can show you. Let me go grab it here off the peg. This is a Uncle Scrooge. So this is kind of comic related, but this is an Uncle Scrooge action figure as he appeared in the cartoon Mickey's Christmas Carols. So I've never taken that out of the box. I got this, I think I won this on eBay a few years ago, but it's got an action figure of Uncle Scrooge. It's got his candle and a bag of money and some coins and a couple toys and his silk hat and a cane over here that you can't really see very well. Right there. And this was from Playing Mantis was the name of the manufacturer. And they had a lot of they had a whole line of them. They had Mickey and Minnie and Tiny Tim and Goofy as the ghost and Donald. And I'd like to get Goofy's action figure too. That's probably pretty cool. But anyway, I thought that was neat. I got it relatively cheaply when I picked it up because I'm cheap on everything, not just comic books. But anyway, today we're looking at what I won on eBay. This is my first ever Platinum Age comic book. This is what it looked like on the eBay is where I got it. And I wanted to show you this picture because I cleaned it up a little bit. And then I wanted to show you, and it's got it's got this little chunk out of the cover there. And then on the inside page, it had all this crayon work. Somebody did a nice job of coloring the figures, and then they went crazy with the blue. So sometime, this was published in 1929. It's almost 100 years old. It was before my mom was born by quite a bit. See, she was born in 36, so what's that? This was made 7 years before my mom was even born. So that's crazy to think about. And here it is. I actually cleaned it up a little bit. After I won it, I couldn't believe I won it. I got it for a crazy price. It was $5 for shipping, and I won it for $3.35. So $8.35 was all I paid for this. It's almost 100 pages. It's like 96 pages long, counting the covers as we do in the comic book world. But as soon as I won it, I went ahead and I ordered some of this Epserine stuff where you're supposed to be able to clean old books and papers, and I know people use it on comic books and stuff. We see it in the videos on YouTube, and it helped a little bit. It didn't help very much. What did help, actually, was sandpaper. And I wouldn't recommend this for actual comic books, but on a hardcover book like this, it worked pretty good. I just lightly went over it and got it cleaned off, and then I used the Epserine afterwards, because the Epserine by itself wasn't doing anything, mostly because this is so old and so tarnished that it just, it's a worn in there. It's part of the book now. It's not. You can see over here where it got a little bit cleaner, but it was actually wearing down into the book, and so I stopped because I could probably clean it further, but it's gonna go as far as I'm gonna get it. But look at the and the Epserine. What the Epserine did work well for was some pencil marks that came off instantly. But this is the title page. This is the one with all the crayon marks, and all those crayon marks are almost completely gone. I couldn't get the coloring off of the figures. It looks like somebody maybe either used markers instead of crayon, or maybe that's actually part of the book. I don't think so, because the whole book is in black and white except for the markings on the cover. But well, let's see if it matches. No, it doesn't match the colors on the front, so I don't think so. I think somebody just used something other than colors to color that with when they did a good job, and then some little Dickens got a hold of a crayon and went crazy on it. But you can see here, I'll bring the crayon photo back up again. You can see what it looked like, and this is what it looked like after I used the sandpaper on it. And then after the sandpaper, I used the Epserine on it. So it turned out really good. I'm very impressed with myself. You can feel like the pages. I thought you could feel like a almost like a linen type quality on the paper that I thought was from me doing the sandpaper. But the truth is, I can feel that on the other pages as well. So it's just the aging of the paper that's on there. But anyway, this is pretty cool. The humor is a little bit lost on me. It's very, very old-fashioned. But there's a foreword here. It says, "Warning to the public. Don't read this unless you're a regular feller, just like me. We get tired of being thrown in the ash can every day, so we decided to get together in book form. Don't think we're getting high hat because we're associating with Shakespeare, Dickens, Longfellow, and Nick Carter. We're still regular fellers. Even if we are on the shelf, we ain't allowed up after 9 o'clock. So if you keep us up later, don't let our moms know, on account we don't want to get a walloping. Yours to the last jelly bean, the regular fellers." So Regular Fellers was a comic strip that started in 1917 and ran to 1949. It was by Gene Burns, and the characters actually debuted before that in a couple other strips that he was working on. But it was made into a feature film in 1941. It was a radio show for one summer season as a summer replacement for the Jack Benny program. So it's got a little history. And comic books, it was in, I think it started in Popular Comics. It was in a few issues of All American Comics. And then Eastern Color actually put out Regular Feller's Heroic Comics, which eventually just became Heroic Comics. But that was based on this too. There was actually an organization called Regular Fellers that was supposed to be like a boys club, basically a kids club for summer activities, basically to get them interested in sports and to keep them busy with sports during the summers. And so the Regular Fellers comic book was actually associated with that and promoted that club and things like that. So let's see what else I found here. I found the movie poster. That's there. And the movie's available on YouTube. If you look it up, it's free. It's in the public domain. I've watched it. It has the kid that played Alfalfa in the Our Gang comedies in it, and it's very much the film is very much an Our Gang Little Rascals type storyline. From what I remember, it was quite a few years ago that I actually watched it, but so yeah, this is actually not the first Regular Fellers comic book. There was a one earlier in 1923. This is published by Couples in Leon, who did a lot of Platinum Age comic strip collections. So these comic strips that are in this book are from 1927. Yeah, so these are run from August 3rd until December 6th, I think, somewhere around in there. And I don't know if every single one's in here. I haven't gone through the book that carefully, but you can see the dates in the corners, just like they do on the comic strip. So December 10th was the last one in here. From so what's that? August, September, October. Almost 4 months worth of daily comic strips, and back then when they were in the comics, some newspapers would put a title on every single strip. So I don't know if these titles that are in this book are from that or if they're just for the book. But I mean, you can see the pen work on that this guy did was really good. The art's really nicely done for what it is, and very much, typical of the time period. And so are the jokes. A lot of them are, some of them I don't even understand because it was so long ago that I mean, it's almost 100 years ago. Just think about that. That's just really cool. Anyway, I'm really happy I got this. This is a very fun thing to have. I've read part of it. Like I said, and I haven't read all the way through it yet, but I am a fan of the comic art form, not just comic books. And to me, this isn't really a comic book. But it is considered Platinum Age comic book by, collecting as a whole. But I've also noticed lately that people have started saying that the Big Little books are basically Platinum Age comic books, and I've never considered them to be the same thing. They're not really a comic book. I guess a lot of them you have comic illustrations. Some of them actually use illustrations from the comic strips, but to me that's not a comic book. But this is more in line of what comic books. This was an early comic book basically, and then they went to comic books, and then eventually they started doing books where they reprinted comic strips again. So it's funny how it kind of went full circle. It went from this to comic books, and they always published um, comics in like paperback form, the comic strips in paperback form. You had all the Peanuts paperbacks that we all read as kids and in the school libraries and stuff, and of course, every comic strip out there tried to recreate that success that they had with the Peanuts books and they didn't really quite make it. They never were quite successful with that format. Peanuts are really the only ones that really did really well with that format. And and then eventually, they started doing collections of comic strips again as like collectible books. And this is basically that's basically what this was back then. So, in 100 years, we've come full circle and just done started reprinting the comic strips in book form again in hardcover. So it's just kind of funny to think about. But anyway, this episode was a little bit different. Hope you liked it. Please like and subscribe. Tomorrow we'll be doing a What Am I Reading episode, and then we will be getting into some of those books sitting over there in those boxes because they're piling up. Most of those, I believe all of those are ones that I chose. They're not mystery lots like the box lots I've been showing. So I haven't been having too much luck with those lately. I get outbid, and there's fewer ones for me to bid on because they keep, basically containing the same books that I already have. So, and now, with this whole arcade closing thing, I'm going to have to start kind of watching my money a little bit more until things even out and I can see where I'm at. I am going to go to try to get to the Comics Den garage sale as one more big blowout. I actually contacted somebody on Facebook today because there was this great collection that looked like it was for sale, really cheap. It looked like maybe the lady's husband had passed away or something, and she was just getting rid of the comics. Hey guys, and but it was already pending as a sale before I saw it, and so I missed out on it. I offered to come get it if the person didn't show up, and then like an hour later it was gone. It was marked as sold. So that would have been a cool collection to get. And one thing I'm considering doing is starting to sell, because sooner or later I'm going to have to, because I'm going to run out of room like we all do. And that might be a way for me to stay in the hobby. It's hard for me to sell the comics if I don't have them. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know where I'm going to end up with that. It's just something I'm considering. If I had bought that collection, I probably would have, because it was a lot of boxes. It was like 20 long boxes, 25 long boxes, I think, something like that. And she wanted $50 a long box. And great deal. It worked out to, I don't know, 16, 20 cents a comic, something like that. And it was mostly modern stuff. Said it was from 80s to modern. And it would have been a great collection to get and then experiment with to sell, to just, do selling videos along with all the other videos I do and see how it went. But I missed out on it. So we'll see where we end up with all that. Anyway, hope you're all having a good holiday season, and I will see you tomorrow. Have a great day.